Okay, I think we're live. Hi, everyone. Oh my God, I am Goddess. I am here today with EmbodyCore Live Sovereignty, healing your ancestry, ancestral womb sovereignty. What is that? So EmbodyCore, I just want to tell you about these live streams that happen for you on Fridays. And if you're here, just give me a hello. This is space to take charge of your fertility, to heal your ancestry, balancing your hormones, and priestessing a new paradigm where female leaders embody their core truth and values attuned with these natural laws and rhythms. So I am so happy that you're here and you're part of this global sisterhood. And if for some reason you don't identify as female or sister, but you find that it's important to be here because you connect to having a womb, then welcome, okay? You already know me, but I'm gonna just customize. I'm making sure I'm working out everything here in the dashboard. Let's jump right in, like ancestral womb sovereignty, like what is that? And it's Women's History Month. And so I've been talking about her story and not only, the story of those women who have come before us and women innovators, those that have against all odds, been able to create change in our society and in our economy and in our history of women's rights, right? We've only been able to vote for like 100 years now or so. With that said, I'm not going to go into, if you hang on here, I'm going to go into this awesome womb clearing meditation. But right now I want to do a little rooting meditation to connect you to your womb and to your ancestors and to why you're here. So if you're here, I invite you just to slow down with me. We have about 45 minutes together. And so let's tune in, okay? Go ahead and put your feet on the floor. And if you don't want to put your feet on the floor, cross your legs and find your sitting bones. Okay, roll your shoulders back a few times. Maybe just loosen the neck. When you're feeling ready, lengthen your spine. I'm going to have you take a few deep breaths into your womb. As you exhale, relax your jaw, creating a little bit of a sigh. And again, we're just centering here for a few minutes. So I'm inviting you to come into the space with me, sister, and just pause. Whether you're going to stay or not, just pause for a moment. And as you breathe, breathing down into your womb, your sexual palace, the entire pelvic bowl. And as you exhale, anchoring through your sit bones, your front pubic bone, taking your seat here on the Mother Earth. And just letting it be known for a moment that you're here now and you're breathing into the womb, lengthening through your spine and your breath and allowing your attention to just be. And I invite you now on your next breath to just send a grounding cord all the way down to the center, the core of the Mother Earth. So from your core, your center, all the way down. And it can be like roots to a tree or however you need that grounding cord to look and feel for you today. Breathe into her. And as you breathe into her, breathing into the memory of the Mother Earth who's been here for millions of years, hundreds of thousands of years. She's holding memory with you. And for a moment, breathe into your womb, feeling the memory of your womb. And if you can't access that memory or it just feels numb and disconnected, just being with that feeling for a moment. And just taking a few more breaths, connecting here and knowing, feeling for a moment the ancestors that have come before you, the foremothers, your mother, your mother's mother, your father's mother, and all of the mothers. Everybody that has ever been a mothering energy for you in your life. The woman in history, the teachers who have inspired you, feeling the presence of all of the women that have come before you, that stand behind you, that support and inspire you to this day. Breathing in to the ancient memory that is carried. And furthermore, I want you to just breathe in to the pain of the story that we have all lived individually and collectively. Breathing in to all of the joy and the desire and the expression of sensuality and femininity and pleasure that we've experienced individually and collectively. And for a moment, I want you to feel into your story, that place inside of you. And if you want to put your hands on your body, anywhere to ground and to feel, be here now with me, sister. Just stay here for another moment. What is that place inside of you that aches, that hurts, that somehow you continue to call upon healing and all of the powers, but you continue to come back to this place like a broken record, like it's never going to heal? It just feels like you're trying so hard, and this place inside of you is always going to be there, and it's always going to be hurting and empty and holding you back. What is that painful cycle that repeats for you? That ancient wound? How do you identify with it? How has it become your story? And how might you even be a little bit addicted to that hurt little girl inside of you, that place, whether it be manifesting as a reproductive disease or imbalance or unfulfilling relationship patterns that you keep cycling into? What is that? And why is it there? And what is it here to teach you? Good. And when you feel ready, start to come back into the present space, bringing yourself back, and just knowing that you're here. You're here with me. You're here with all of the women who have carried this story, who've carried what I call the ancient wound of the womb. I'm going to go into that in just a moment. I'm going to share my story in just a moment, but I want to ask you a few questions, okay? One is on a scale from like 1 to 10, 10 being like the most connected you could possibly feel, and 1 being like, I'm numb and I feel nothing. How connected do you feel down there to your womb, your uterus, your sexual palace, your reproductive organs? Okay, and just type a number in if you feel like you can do that. And if you want to give it a word, like you can just type in, I'm feeling disconnected, I'm feeling numb, I'm feeling tingling sensation, I'm feeling sexual desire. Just for a moment, notice how it feels down there. Does it feel neglected? And just take note of that. And my second question to you is, how connected do you feel? Oh, yay. Hi, Sydney. You got a 10. Hell yeah. I love that. Let's celebrate that. On a scale from 1 to 10, okay, how connected do you feel to your ancestors? Yes, your ancestors. It can be your bloodline ancestors, or other beings that you've connected to on your path. I feel like this jump between a 7 and a 9 and I don't know today as well, and that's okay, because there's a lot of ways that we know we're connected to them, and we live out their stories for them, and we might be never even met them. We might even have an ancestor that's like attached to us, that's connected to us, that's speaking through us every day, and we've never met that ancestor. So that's where these stories come in. Your story is so precious and important. And I know that by sharing our stories, we can also inspire each other. And so write in the comments, oh, almost a 0. Okay, that's okay. And we're going to be with that. And we're going to go through a little meditation in a little bit so that we can get more connected. A lot of us feel disconnected because to be connected, I just want to say this, to feel connected to some of our ancestors means to feel the depth of the pain and injustice that has been done to them. I say it again, sometimes to feel connected means to have to carry and consume and relive the grief or the trauma, and then once we get through that, there's so much gifts on the other side. So today, not only am I starting a contest this month because I want you to tell your story in 500 words or less, I am wanting to just share with you for a moment that, I started this journey in Obsidian Womb Wellness, came to me in 2017. Obsidian being this word, this concept, this actual stone that I work with in the womb. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how the vision of Obsidian Womb came about. But as a child, I had irregular periods. I started menstruating when I was 16, which was kind of late. I grew up in the East Coast, in Massachusetts, and I always had this deep yearning in my I heard about California, where I live now, and I had this deep desire to want to be there. I heard about the redwood trees, and I had this, I felt this echo. I mean, I don't know if you think of the redwood trees as ancestors, but I relate to trees and different beings as ancestors as well. And these ancestors were singing to me. They were singing to me, and I couldn't even believe that trees existed that big. And I didn't make it out to California until I was 18 years old. But backtracking, I lived and grew up in Salem, Massachusetts, and I had irregular periods. I had dysmenorrhea. I had excessive bleeding, and it was really painful, and I was very, very disconnected to what it meant to be a female in a woman's body. Okay, I had to, although my mom did a good job of teaching me basics of sex education, and trying to make herself available to answer questions, there was never a celebration for my moon time. There was never education about what my hormones were and how to nourish them. And when that big imbalance happened where I was excessively bleeding, I was put on the birth control pill. Okay. And at 16 years old, you don't know any better. Sure, I'll go on the birth control pill. It regulates your hormones. That's the solution. Back 25 or 30 years ago in Massachusetts. So I had a feeling, though. I didn't like being on it. I did not like the feeling. I felt bloated, overweight, and not connected to who I truly was. So about a year later, I started eating organic and actually became vegetarian, and I got off the pill. And I knew that I needed to figure out on my own what was really going on inside of me. And what happened? The bleeding came back. And there was nobody to explain it for me. And I kept bleeding and menstruating. And I even went to Europe. I graduated high school and went to Europe for the summer, menstruating the whole summer, getting really weak. Do you know what it's like to not have a day off from blood leaving your womb and your uterus? It's scary. It is very scary and threatening. And I did not understand why I couldn't figure this out until one day I got back from Europe. And I lost a job because I was so weak. I couldn't, I was a nanny and I couldn't even hold the toddlers anymore. And anyways, I ran into the forest and threw myself on the Mother Earth. And some of you have heard this story before, but one thing led to another. And I started kicking and sobbing and pleading with the Mother Earth. And I said, Mother Earth, if you just help me, if you could just help me, I promise to serve and protect you for the rest of my life. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why this is happening to me. Help. It was this full surrender and plead for help. And, I don't know what it was about that moment, but she spoke to me. And she spoke to me in a way that affirmed that she was there. And she was like, yes, my daughter, I will serve and protect you for the rest of my life. And we are allies. And I will take care of you. And for whatever reason, I stood up, brushed myself off, walked home. And I just knew, I had the vision in that moment, I need to pack my bags and go to California. I need to do it. I need to leave. And it was not about running away from the pain of my past or the disconnection. It was actually that I had a higher destiny. and I wasn't listening to it. And the moment I listened to my body and surrendered, then I stopped bleeding. I walked home, the bleeding stopped. That excessive imbalance in my womb and my uterus and my endometrial lining, it regained health and it never returned. Although I had other things that I had to balance out. But the moment that I made it to California and I left house with like $300 in my pocket and kind of road tripped it, Craigslisted it, and made it to California, the moment that I landed here in the Redwood Forest, I also dropped to my knees with tears in my eyes. I felt the mother redwood tree say, you're home now. And I could feel it in my heart. And from that moment forward, almost like 19 years ago, all of my path opened up. I got initiated into the red tent. I met teachers, I met priestesses that brought me into their lineage. Medicine woman that also brought me onto the red road on a path that really helped me get my shit together. And then I got brought down eventually to Mexico to work with a female lineage. And when I started working with that female lineage, I was able to really birth the work that's coming through me now in Obsidian Womb to be of service to you all. It really informed me. So that story, one right there, is the story that connects me to who I am. There's this moment where I took charge of my health, of my fertility, and of my destiny. And I listened to my body, but I had to come to this full, like, surrendered place. So I share that with you today in hopes to kind of inspire you to find what was that story that, like, and there's so many more, and I'm so excited. I'm like, I want to share it all with you, but like, what is that story for you? And I call it the ancient wound of the womb because I've been traveling around for like 15 years now, meeting amazing women on my journeys all over the world in healing centers, in remote places, Central America, South America, the islands, and I find that every woman is on this kind of, I call it shero's journey, hero's journey, but she's also trying to reclaim a part of herself that's connected to her ancestry. Is connected to the pain of her ancestors and also to the pain in her womb, and that painful memory in her, whether it's specifically in her womb where she's developed cancer, endometriosis, or, fulfilling relationship patterns or pain during sex, whatever it might be, it might just be really unhealthy, toxic relationship patterns, with significant others, whatever that might be, that a woman has her story about, there's a common thread. There's a common thread where we all connect and we understand that we're on this journey together, that we're reclaiming an ancient priestesshood together, an ancient wisdom, and that there's this wound that's kind of motivating us to seek healing and wisdom in other places. And so I call this the ancient wound of the womb because we all have one. We all have an ancient story, and we feel it connects us to being whatever priestesses like hundreds of lifetimes ago together, or that we feel seriously just an innate connection of like, wow, I'm going through this, and I saw how my mom went through this with her father, and so forth. We start to see the patterns that are genetically passed to us because as females, if we're born with female hormones and genetics, there's a field called epigenetics, what kind of explains for how genes get passed down generation to generation. There's a very specific gene gets passed down from woman, from mother, from grandmother to mother to daughter, that does not get passed down from mother to son. And sons don't pass that down onto their offspring. So additionally, this specific gene, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's responsible for carrying the memories of our ancestors. Where again, I always invite women in my programs that are apprenticing with, or as we gather, to do grief rituals. Additionally, forgiveness rituals. If you feel the grief of your ancestors, it's because they want to be honored and acknowledged. So starting point, create an altar, create a space to honor them or to invite them in and to, make offerings to them. And we do this ideally if you follow the wheel of the year, which is kind of the traditional pagan ways or the traditional ways of honoring the cycles of the earth. We have the Samhain, Halloween, All Hallows Eve, this time of the year where people traditionally and just want to connect to the other side and to ancestors and to those who have passed and to honor their lives, but this can be done all of the time. So I'm inviting you today to just stay present with what comes up for you, because when I talk about sexual sovereignty, and why this work is so crucial, well, one, sovereignty is a self-governing state, okay? Sovereignty is being sovereign, true, autonomous unto yourself, your own physical self. And, when I talk about sexual sovereignty, this is kind of a new, I want to say new concept, a very old concept, but a new, I would just kind of say it's a new fad because reclaiming sexual sovereignty, unfortunately, is something we have to do because of patriarchy, because of the pain of the past of our ancestors and like hundreds of years of oppression and repression against women. So sexual sovereignty is not only about owning your true identity to yourself and gaining pleasure and freedom, may that be erotic or just in any area of your life, but I really believe it's the ability to live a life where you're really completely connected, turned on, activated to create success through harmonizing with your female hormones and reproductive power. This also means like releasing negative emotional and toxic patterns that have been blocking the way to true pleasure. So I'm gonna offer that to you in just a moment here today. And then I'll tell you about the contest. But I want you to also just think about like why are you doing this work? Why are you here today? For me, my why is because of our ancestors, because I feel so important. Like I'm thinking of my mom and how she struggles, and my sister and how she struggles, and how my grandmother has dementia and is living in a little tiny, we'll just say like a home hospital treatment center. I think of like the opportunities that I would want for them and the reasons that I want them living more freely. And I think about my future generations and not wanting to pass these patterns of pain and shame and guilt or just whatever might be unhealthy in my daily habits onto the future generations. And I do, although this, we need something to have hope for, and I do have hope for the future generations and for this new paradigm of priestessing the earth, this new regenerative design and vision that we are allowing the new paradigm of beings to come through, and this planet can thrive for generations to come. And it feels so strong in me, maybe because of where I am in my timeline and my desire to be a mother. But I really, we need to be connected to our why. So why do you want to do this work? Okay, you know what? I'm feeling like let's go into our meditation, our womb clearing meditation. And another why, I just want to say, because, sexual assault is very common against women. Sexual assault is a violent violation of your body's rights. And about 1 in every 5 women, if not more by now, has been raped, okay? These aren't statistics that I like to share, but like many of us, there's a lot of child trafficking. There's a big porn industry out there. This is an epidemic of misconstrued ideas around sexuality. And a lot of us learned this, a lot of us learned this because of how social media and the TV industry objectifies and degrades the female body. We've learned about our self-worth through TV, right? And we've learned that it's okay to use our sexuality as currency. And no, this is not the way that's going to sustain us or model us strong boundaries, and allow us to feel connected and nurtured by our desires of being, true and whole unto ourselves. So this is about a new paradigm of belief. So if you're here right now, I'm going to challenge you to talk and share and write about your story this month, because it is your time. Your voice matters. Okay, so the meditation. Thank you for letting me share all that. and take a moment here. We're just going to do this for a couple minutes. This is where we connect to our ancestors. So I want you to just take a moment and notice where the direction of the north is in the female lineage that I work in Mexico. And if we have time, I'll share about that lineage. But my foot just fell. I want you to find the direction of the north, because that's where we call upon Tezcatlipoca. They call it in the Mexica tradition, the obsidian, the subconscious mind, that kind of underworld, those places where things hide out. And when they hide out, we can't see the root cause of them. It creates a disease here as it manifests, lack of ease in our daily life. So let's call upon the strength of our ancestors and of the medicine of the direction of the north. Okay, you can either just find the north or position yourself in the north, and thank goodness all of our cell phones tell us where the north is nowadays. North is behind me. I'm gonna have you close your eyes again, okay? And just take some nice deep slow breaths, grounding in here. We're going to work with energy, with the color and the imagery of black smoke. And we're also going to work with the contrast of a golden orb of light. And as you breathe here and ground again through your sit bones and your front pubic bone, breathing into your uterus, your entire sexual palace, and just taking a moment just to be here now, be present with all that is here and all that has arisen for you in this time that we've been together today. Noticing the quality of your breath. The right side of your uterus and of your ovaries is connected to your matrilineal lineages. Your mother's side of the family and beyond. And I want you to take a few breaths into your right ovary. And exhaling, if you need to exhale and stick your tongue out or just release any stagnant energy flow, go ahead and do so now. And to see that going down to the earth and returning to the earth. And take one more breath just into the right ovary. Exhaling out black smoke to the earth like compost. Any fears, any sadness, releasing down and composting to the earth and the soil. Good. Breathing into the right ovary and just filling up with golden light, love, and acceptance. Smiling to your right ovary. We're going to come back to this, and I'm going to bring you over to your left ovary now, your left side of your uterus, your pelvis. And that left side connects to the patrilineal lineages that you come from. You might immediately start to feel that as you take a breath, imagining black smoke, gathering any cobwebs, any discordant energy, and exhaling it down and out to the earth. That exhale can be vocal. It can release any tension that you might be feeling coiled inside. And again, breathing into the left ovary, any sadness, any fear, any shame. And as you exhale, black smoke goes down and out to the earth. And then you're going to breathe up into your left ovary, the feeling of mothering, love, universal acceptance. Good. And being with your left ovary, smiling, seeing it turn on like a light bulb, and thanking you for being there, present with her. Good. And now we're going to join ourselves to our cervix, our uterus. Imagine both ovaries connecting through fallopian tubes down into your uterus. You're going to breathe the earth energy up into your uterus. And imagine a cloud of black smoke drawing cobwebs of illusion and disconnection, sadness and grief. You're just going to exhale it down through the cervix, the vagina, the legs, back out to the earth. Okay, I'm getting very descriptive here because I want you to go into it. And again, if you're feeling emotional, being with that, let the emotions erupt. It's okay. Again, breathing into your uterus, gathering any places of shame, of guilt, anywhere that you may have been violated or not wanted. Exhaling it down and out to the earth. The black smoke gathers and exhales out. And one more time, just that same imagery of black smoke drawing into your womb, shame, pain, guilt, confusion, sadness, fears, exhaling it all down and out to the earth. Ha! Good. And what we're going to breathe in now, imagine this golden orb of light just outside of the body, but you're starting to draw it in to your womb. It's coming up through the legs, through the vaginal canal, the cervix, the uterus, and filling up your entire womb, this golden love, warm, radiating light. As you breathe in forgiveness. Even if you don't understand the places that are asking forgiveness, breathing in acceptance and that sweet, mothering, nurturing love. Bringing in sweetness, connection, your ability to allow yourself to receive this love and nurturing light into your womb, into your sexual palace, into all areas of your reproductive organs now. Imagine this golden orb of light expanding through the womb to all parts of your body, your torso, your organs, your digestive system, bloodstream, until it starts to encompass every cell, every molecule of your body. It continues to coil into your DNA. And just taking a moment to say thank you, body. I love you. Thank you. Please forgive me. I forgive you. Do it one more time. A little bit of Ho'oponopono coming in. Thank you. I love you. Please forgive me. I forgive you. And so it is. I invite you to open your eyes and smile. And so you can come back to that anytime you need to. If you're here on Obsidian Womb Sisterhood Facebook page, you go into the section of guides and you can download, or you can, I'm pretty sure you can download the Ancestral Womb Clearing Meditation. Do that as many times as you need to. I really encourage you to get connected and go out on the earth anytime that disconnection occurs. It's funny, it's like when we're connected, the ego flies, all of our guides are there. We feel connected to our hormones. We know what we need to nourish ourselves, right? And when we're disconnected, there's just so much sometimes confusion and rage and anger and pain and grief. And so these two polarities are allowed to exist simultaneously. Awesome. So I'm going to share one more story with you. And then I want to talk about the contest. You are going to be able to share your story and maybe win. I'm going to tell you about the contest first. Sorry, that's coming through me more than my story right now. I want you to know that if you write your story in 500 words or less, 500 words is really difficult. Let me let you know because I tried it recently, but some of you good at like haiku. I want you to tell your story, your ancient wound of the womb, what difficult things you have overcome as a woman, what difficult challenges you might have had in connection to your innate femininity, your sexuality, and just what is that story of hardship in your life and how have you overcome it? And how has it made you who you are today? And who do you serve now because of it? What are you able to do now? And it's like, I want you to take a bold stand in what you care about for yourself and for humanity. It comes back to that why. Why are you doing this work? The world needs to hear your story, sister. So this is not just even to win a contest. You can the first winner, yes, the first place winner gets to come into the Obsidian Womb Apprenticeship in April. We begin on April 10th, which is the new moon, next new moon, because we are arriving at a new moon tomorrow morning. And then that's a $1,700 value. And second place winner gets an Ancestral Womb Healing Kit, which includes the obsidian egg and a private consult with me, and additional PDF and webinars that come along to work with the obsidian yoni egg, which is the ultimate shamanic, I wouldn't say shamanic, but womb clearing, healing, ancestral vitality tool that is kind of the foundation of a lot of the programs that I run, but it's not the only thing. And then the third place winner gets an obsidian rainbow pendant. Oh, I don't have my obsidian on today, but you get a pendant that will protect and guide you. And so you need to submit this to me. I will put in the comments how to contact me, but obsidianwombsister@gmail.com. You have until the 24th of the month, okay, the 24th of March, because we need to get your stories out before then, okay, before the end of Women's HerStory Month. Now, you know, there's controversy over like every day and any day of the year can be a woman's history month. Like we can celebrate women all the time, and I absolutely agree. But we also have an ability to respond to what's going on locally and globally, and to kind of participate in a way that feels important to us. So I'm advocating, educating, and empowering you and women to make the most healthy, informed decisions. And so only you can know what your sovereignty is, what your yes is, what your no is, what you want for yourself. My job is to just stand there and hold that place that allows you to step into that. And so I'm going to put details about the scholarship here in the comment section in just a moment, so you can get all the details that you need out. And I really am looking forward to hearing your story. That's just the most precious, exciting, turn on aspect of why I'm doing this today, is I want to know more about you. So one more thing about me that you don't know before our time runs out. A lot of people ask me, like, how did I get to working with the obsidian yoni egg, which is a really unique tool, a very unique stone. It's a volcanic stone. It comes from the center of the earth. And, you know, it mirrors how we, you know, helps us connect and take that long journey home to our true selves. It helps to heal and rebalance reproductive disease, sexual trauma, and it connects us to dormant memory and the dormant memories of our ancestors. So it helps to erupt those stories. And as they surface, we can really heal and reclaim our sovereignty. And I see women heal from reproductive imbalances working with this stone. I work with women that find their ideal soulmates and partners because they're able to clear out toxins and residue and painful memories of their past that are lodged up and stuck in their wombs. Women that want to connect to their creativity and have amazing breakthroughs in their female creativity, and that want to lead from a more female-centric place where they're harmonizing their hormones. This stone somehow does it all. I explain it scientifically and energetically on my webinar. So I hope that maybe you'll come and find a webinar with me. But what I want to say, like, how did I get started with this? I never thought I would be carrying this really, let's say, auspicious, challenging stone around. This is like, it's very kind of interesting to be known for carrying an obsidian yoni egg. Okay, just a public name that feels kind of like, how do I explain this to people who have absolutely no knowledge of, say, spirituality or alternative radical yoni self-care? It came to me in a sweat lodge. So I told you about a female lineage that I've been working with in Mexico for over a decade now, for about 13 years. And after 4 years of working with this female lineage, where we dance under the full moon for 4 nights, we do ritual with our blood, we go into temazcal and sweat lodges, and we fast and pray under the full moon, singing and dancing, and of course it sounds amazing. And this is a very old Aztec Mexican lineage. When I found this, I was like, I just found like I found my tribe. I found the woman that carry their medicine bundles, and we worked with obsidian there, but I didn't know obsidian work even existed as a yoni egg. I knew about jade eggs, and I knew obsidian existed because in Mexico we work with it in the form of pipe to pray with. The women carry that medicine of obsidian chanupas, and that's how they do their spiritual work in the night. So I understood some attributes of obsidian. And then 4 years into working with them, And I hope I'm not freezing on you because it shows that there's a freeze. Okay. 4 years into working with this lineage, I went into a Temazcal, a sweat lodge, with my grandmother, who just was the chief of the lineage. And in that sweat lodge, I received this download, a vision of an obsidian egg. And I knew about obsidian, and I knew about jade egg, and boom, it came together as a vision. And I just kept getting this download. I was going to help heal women of trauma, generations of trauma, generational trauma, and help to clear negativity and toxins from their wombs, from their lives. And the download kept coming and coming and coming for days after being in that lodge. Okay. And I had a little tiny obsidian egg. It was almost too small to fit into the vaginal canal, but the grandmother that I was with actually encouraged me to work with it. And so meanwhile, I worked with it, and a few of my apprentices worked with it, with a different one, and they were too small to actually utilize properly. But when I went back to Mexico, I had the vision, and this is 5 or 6 months later, that I would have these stones made. And when I got to Mexico, back to that lineage of women that I work with, there was a group of women there at that Aztec ceremony, and they had come from Durango, Mexico, to teach about the obsidian yoni egg. And boom, my mouth dropped, because I did not know that there was a lineage of women that worked with this obsidian egg. I didn't even know it existed as a practice yet. And it came right to me. I sat through the workshop, my mouth dropped, because I understood that I am not ready to teach this yet. This stone is a no bullshit stone, and it's going to take so much courage and integrity and proper instructions for me to utilize this properly. Long story short, so I actually finally went home with the obsidian egg, the right size of it, the proper instructions, and for the next year of my life, and I actually got a couple of friends of mine that I felt I could entrust with this practice, and I troubleshot. I worked with that stone for the next year, and I got information of how my friends were working with it and what it brought up in their bodies and in their lives. And then the following year, I went back to work with that group of women. And the grandmother of the lineage, the grandmother of whom I received the vision of this in, she had 100 eggs made for me. She knew an artisan. She knew somebody that carved into the stone. She had 100 obsidian eggs made for me and blessed me to go home and share this work with the woman in my life. And so it was that I had the blessing of this lineage and of the lands of Teotihuacan and the people there, and of the full moon, to continue to carry this work forward. And that is how it came through, my friends. I received the vision to travel around and teach the workshop for free and then sell the egg. And it always worked that the information should be free to women, that they know about this practice. They have to know that it exists, is how I felt at the time. And I could sell them the egg at the end if they wanted. And it always worked. But after about a year and a half of this, women were really intimidated by the stone and the instructions and put it on their altar. And a lot of them were scared to touch it, to really work with it. They were afraid of what it would bring up. Yeah. Thank you, Yulia. Women were intimidated by the power of their stone and of the power of their own story and yoni. And of course, like if you have trauma and a lot of embedded painful memory, then you can feel it. You get close to that stone, it's magnetic, it's biomagnetic. It tunes in with your field. And so there's something scary. There's something really exciting about healing and doing the work finally. And there's something really scary about getting to that growth edge. So from that, I developed the Obsidian Womb Apprenticeship. I just decided to create a program, a support system for women. I do it at 3 months at a time. Now we have like 6-month, 9-month, year-long programs so that women really get to the most out of working with this stone. And through that, a beautiful sisterhood has created. I get to share, women get the accountability, the emotional support they need, the extra vitality practices, and they learn to track and lunar time. So as a result, Obsidian Womb has come about, and that's the story of Obsidian Womb. And from there forward, we've been serving like hundreds of women. I don't want to say thousands. I've definitely reached more than a few thousand women by traveling and sharing this knowledge, but there's hundreds of women in the sisterhood that continue to do these practices and stay connected. And we understand that we're here for a common cause, that we're doing this work not only for ourselves, but for each other and for the future generations. So I thank you for being here with me today. That about wraps up our time. If you resonate with any of my story or anything that you've heard, please take the time to sit down, free flow, just let your story come out, okay? And if you want to go back and refine it, or even get some, get some help, like if you want to send it to me in a rough draft version and get some feedback, I'm super happy to collaborate with you, okay? So have a wonderful day. Next week, we have Leah Borowski coming on. She's going to teach some Qigong. She's going to talk about detoxing the body and rebuilding our gut microbiome. So that's a really important topic. I hope to see you next week. I love you all. Bye-bye.